Chapter 41 Shri Sai Satcharita. In this chapter, Dabholkar hears the story of how Ali Muhammad brought the bas-relief at the opportune time of the Simga dinner to his home. Ali bought the bas-relief and venerated it in his house. A short time later, he had surgery on his leg for an abscess. Following the surgery, he was recuperating in the home of Nur Muhammad Pirbhai, who was a disciple of Saint Abdul Rahiman. During that time, Pirbhai took the photograph of his Guru and got it enlarged, and made 6 copies of it and distributed them to his family and friends. One of the copies he got framed and presented it to Baba Abdul Rahiman in his open darbar. Abdul Rahiman flew into a rage and threatened to beat him as it was akin to idolatry. Disappointed at the turn of events, he immersed it in the ocean. Pirbhai, upset by the wrath of his Guru, collected all the pictures and submerged them. He was convinced that having the pictures of saints was akin to idol worship, and that it would bring nothing but misfortune and ill luck. Ali Muhammad had a lot of pictures of saints, including the bas-relief of Baba hanging in his home. At the behest of Pirbhai, he sent his mehta to his home to get them submerged. When he returned home, he was surprised to see the bas-relief was still hanging there. So he consulted with Maulana Ismu Muhammad, who advised him that they should give it to Dabholkar, as he would definitely take care of it and venerate it with devotion. So they arrived at Dabholkar's home at the appropriate time. The next Leela is titled Stealing of the Rags and Reading the Dnyaneshwari by B.V. Dev. Dev was unable to read the Dnyaneshwari, no matter how hard he tried. Then he sought the help of Balaram Mankar and decided to ask him how he got Baba's grace. Just prior to hearing Balaram's answer, Baba summoned Dev. Angrily he asked Dev for dakshina, which Dev gave, and Baba said he was lying as he had given him less amount. A short while later, Baba accused him of stealing the rags, which Dev denied. Baba continued shouting at Dev and threatened to beat him for lying about the stolen rags. Later, Baba asked Dev to read the Dnyaneshwari and then explain the portion that he had read. Then Baba said, "I am sitting right here to give you a whole golden embroidered shawl. Then why do you go to others and steal rags? And should you get into this habit of stealing?" So Dev happily started reading the Dnyaneshwari. A year later, Baba appeared in his dream to check on his progress. Then Baba said, "When you read it, you make too much of haste." Baba wanted Dev to read it mindfully and slowly, so that he could read and understand it. The Leelas given in this chapter are described beautifully and needs no more elaboration. So I will narrate some Leelas about devotees who did Parayan of various religious books and their experiences. Leela number 1. My Charitra isn't a pillow. Read and understand it. M. Narasimha Prasad is now a healthy 70-year-old man. But in September 2006, the chances of his survival were slim. He was an atheist and drank alcohol from the moment he awakened till the moment he went to sleep at night. His wife was devoted to Baba, and he often drove her to the Sai Baba temple and waited outside the temple for her. In the month of September, he was rushed to the hospital as he was getting drowsy and losing consciousness. He was admitted and his blood tests were done. At that time, his abdomen was bloated and was full of fluid, and the liver was totally damaged by alcoholic cirrhosis. The doctor told his family to take him home as he would not survive for more than 2 days. He further added that the liver enzymes were so high that even a liver transplant would fail. As Prasad was slipping into coma, he was kept in the hospital and palliative treatment was started. His friend Nagesh Reddy came to visit him and brought a Sai Satcharita along with him. Seeing Prasad's serious condition, Nagesh kept the book on his chest and prayed for his survival. Prasad, however, took the book and kept it under his pillow as he did not plan to read it at all. Then he slipped into a coma. At midnight, he opened his eyes, asked for food, and relapsed into a coma. The doctor was informed and treatment was continued. 48 hours later, Prasad again opened his eyes and asked for a meal, and again became comatose. Thus 60 hours had passed by. It was then that Baba appeared and touched him on his shoulder and asked him to come with him. Then he took him to the bathroom and helped him wash his feet. Then Baba took him back to the room. Baba seated him on a chair and stood behind him and passed his hands over his body. Baba told him, "My Charitra is given to you not to be used as a pillow. It has to be read and understood. You have a lot of work to do, so I will cure you." Then Baba disappeared. Prasad immediately started reading the Charita and completed reading it by 6 a.m. The doctors were astounded to see him sitting up and reading. Needless to say, his blood tests came out normal and he was healthy. He now does Annadan, distributes clothes and blankets to the needy, and follows Baba's teachings. He neither drinks nor smokes and is an ardent devotee of Baba. This Leela was narrated by Shankaraya. Leela number 2. His Saptah is accepted. In December 1967, K.R. Gopinath began to worship Baba, which was initiated by a Brahmin friend of his. At that time, Gopinath was residing in Hidkal Dam near Belgaum. At first, he did a Saptah of the Guru Charita and concluded it on Friday. That very night, he was blessed by Baba, who appeared in his dream and asked him to attend the job interview the next day. The following day, a person was waiting with a letter for him to appear in the interview. Not only did he do well in the interview, but he got the job immediately without trouble. He was quite restless after joining it, as he felt that his previous post was better. But with Baba's grace, he succeeded in introducing a better pattern of accounting and received many accolades for his efforts. About 3 months later, he went to Kerala as his bride was residing there. Just prior to his marriage, he performed a Saptah of the Sri Sai Satcharita in his hometown. On the 7th day, he invited many of his friends and relatives for the feast. When preparations for the Aarti were being made, a black cat turned up and ate the prasad which was kept before Baba's photograph. He was elated that Baba had accepted his Saptah and the prasad. This miracle surprised everyone who was present. Then everyone partook of the spiritual feast and kept wondering of the glory and the significance of Baba, who was present in all living beings. This Leela is taken from Sri Sai Leela magazine, volume 53, 1975 February. Leela number 3. Baba instructs him not to fast. Every day, Anil B. Rasal, a resident of Mumbai, read at least one chapter of the Sri Sai Satcharita with very few interruptions. This was in 1983. On August 31st, which happened to be Janmashtami, Rasal read chapter 41 that describes how Baba blessed B.V. Dev in the effort to read the Dnyaneshwari. Rasal hoped that he would one day be blessed to read this book also. He was pleasantly surprised to receive a packet of Udi from Shirdi on that very day, and he considered it a good omen. The next day he started reading the Dnyaneshwari and completed reading 2 chapters. After a few days, he met Dnyaneshwar Mani Bua, who had mastered the book by over 30 years of regular reading and gave discourses on it. Mani Bua readily accepted to help him in his reading and explain the portion read. Mani Bua also asked him to fast on Ekadashi, but Rasal was hesitant as Baba disliked fasts. He thought, Baba is my Sadguru, and until I get clear instructions from Baba, I will not fast. The next day was Kartik Ekadashi, and Rasal dreamt of Baba. In the dream, Baba held him by the right hand and led him to a place where Dnyaneshwar Maharaj was sitting. Then gave some pitla bhakar to him and asked him to give it to Rasal. Dnyaneshwar did what he was told by Baba. In this way, Rasal was instructed by Baba not to observe the fast. This Leela is taken from Sri Sai Leela magazine, volume 64, 5th August 1985. Leela number 4. Lord Datta's picture changes into the Fakir. His guru was Brahmanand Saraswati and he was devoted to Lord Dattatreya. He did not know anything about Baba and had little interest in finding out about him. This statement was given by Shankar Rao Baivile of Santa Cruz, Mumbai. But all that changed in 1936. His sister requested him to accompany her to Shirdi that year. He refused the invitation. A short while later, while worshipping Lord Dattatreya, he lovingly gazed at the photograph and it gradually changed into the figure of a fakir wearing a torn kafni and a white cloth tied around his head. Shankar Rao got up and cleaned the photograph, but with the same result. He then cleaned it again carefully. This was the third time he did so, but every time his favorite deity was transformed into the Fakir. He had never seen the photograph of Baba, and hence he did not know who it was. That evening, he went to Dr. Thakkar's home and saw Baba's photograph. He recognized him to be the Fakir that Lord Datta's picture was transformed into. Eagerly, he asked him about the Fakir. Then he received a lot of information about him. He immediately told his sister that he would gladly accompany her to Shirdi. His visit to Shirdi was the turning point of his life. There he experienced a lot of peace and serenity that he had never experienced before. Again and again he visited Shirdi. Baba's effect on him was so great that he visited Shirdi 9 times in a span of 6 months. On one of his visits, he read the Guru Charita in 7 days. On the night of the completion, he slept in the courtyard in front of the Samadhi Mandir. At midnight, he heard footsteps nearby. He looked up and found Baba gazing at him. Baba had walked from the Dwarkamai to the Samadhi Mandir. He had never seen Baba before, and he was overwhelmed by the love and compassion in Baba's eyes. Then he consented to be on the executive committee as Mr. Kharkar had resigned. He thus became the secretary of the Sri Sai Baba Samsthan, Shirdi. He says, all this is because of Baba's grace. This Leela was taken from Sai Sudha magazine, volume 5, number 8, June 1945. Leela number 5. Baba bestowed a protective armor around the Gupte family. In 1957, Sumati A. Gupte decided to do a Parayan of the Charita. She started reading it on Thursday. On Sunday, some relatives visited her. It was her practice to abstain from non-vegetarian food during the Parayan. Her husband, however, asked her to prepare a fish curry for the guests. She consoled herself, saying, guests are akin to God and should be welcomed heartily, and she prepared it. Everyone had a hearty meal. Around 5 p.m. she hoped that they would leave so she could complete reading that day's portion. Finally they left, and Sumati completed her chores and sat down to read at 10 p.m. At midnight she had completed reading the chapters for that day. She looked up at the picture of Baba in front of her, when it suddenly lit up with a brilliant light. Fascinated, she stared at it. It was so luminous that she couldn't see Baba in it. Then a saffron, golden-colored beam emitted from it, and a round, pea-sized piece ejected and settled on the page of the Charita below her thumb. It remained there for a short while, and she experienced a sort of tingling pain as it settled on the top of her thumb. Then the piece traversed through the air back into Baba's brilliant light and merged with it. After that, she could clearly see Baba in the picture again. At that time, I couldn't understand the significance of it, but later, when life took numerous disastrous turns, I realized that Baba had placed his protective shield around me and my family, she says. After this incident, she had several operations and was at death's door. But Baba saved her time and again. One day she visited the temple of family goddess. The train she had to travel by was delayed, so she boarded another train. Later, she heard that a fire had broken out in the ladies' compartment or bogie of that train, and many ladies had sustained severe burns. Her daughter, however, was in that bogie, but due to Baba's grace, escaped unharmed. Once her husband was going to work and missed his train, just by a few seconds. That train that he had missed had a head-on collision with another train at the next station. Many passengers lost their lives in that accident, and numerous passengers were severely injured. Whenever I remember these incidents, I thank Baba for his compassion. I have also realized the power of reading the Charita, states Sumati. The power of the Charita is beyond one's comprehension, as it is told by Baba himself. This Leela was taken from Sri Sai Sagar magazine, year 2003 Ram Navami issue. And this concludes the commentary on the chapter. Om Sai Ram.